Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Steve Roitstein. This is a video that's hopefully going to help you get started with Pro Tools first. We're going to make a very simple beat. This is a project that my sound recording and MIDI Electronic Music 1 classes start out the semester with at Miami Dade College. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Click the little bell so that you get your notifications. I will be uploading lots of stuff, so stay tuned. I'm going to start out by opening Pro Tools first, and I've actually already got it open. It requires that you be connected to the internet to do that. So the application is open. You can tell that because it says it right up here. I'm on a Mac, so everything I'm doing is very Mac-centric. This application, Pro Tools First, does work on a PC with Windows. I'm going to click on Create New from the File menu, and this gives you the option of Create or Open, and obviously since I'm starting a new one, I'm going to create one from scratch. Got an option here down here, which is defaulting to backup to cloud. I recommend backing up to cloud. I think this is probably the best way. You could uncheck that and have it be saved to your local drive, wherever you're maybe internally on your computer or some other external drive, but I'm going to leave it back up to cloud. I'm going to name it like my classes do, which is the person's first initial. That for me is S, and the last name. And then the name of the project. This one I'm just going to call Simple Beat. And the version number, if you have one, I'm going to put in here 5, just so it doesn't get confused with any experiments that I've been doing. And I click Create. No, I was doing something before. I'm not going to save it. There's a blank session in Pro Tools First. Pro Tools First is a free program, and there are a lot of things that the full Pro Tools does that this one doesn't do, but not terribly so. Very complete. One of the things that it doesn't involve is all the file management that you're able to do locally with the full version of Pro Tools. Is really not possible with this, which is actually a blessing in disguise, because in a lot of ways, for someone who's starting out or just wants to do some stuff on Pro Tools, you don't really need to worry about that stuff. Okay, I'm trying to hide the task manager because it keeps updating me every time it sends information to the cloud, and I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to try to make this invisible, but it's not cooperating so far. Anyway, right off the bat, this is bars and beats. I like to have this thing open. This is the transport window. I'm kind of addicted to that, so I recommend using it because it's very helpful. You go to the window menu, choose transport, or you could just do Command 1, and that'll bring it up, or make it go away if you don't want to see it. So I've got it there. Oops, there we go. Command 1. It's not working. It's supposed to work with the keypad. I don't have a full keypad, so I'm just going to choose it from the menu there. If I press play, I'm not going to hear anything because I have no tracks. So the first thing I'm going to do, since I'm creating music and I'm looking at this bars and beats here, that's my main counter, I'm going to go to the track menu and choose Create Click Track. The click track is what's going to keep me on the beat, or as Pro Tools calls it, the grid. I need to stay on the grid. Let me just kind of move this down here out of the way because it's not doing what I want. It's not going away. Somebody out there probably knows how to do that, and if so, hey, put a comment. All right, so it's kind of out of the way now. That's good. Now if I press play, I hear that lovely click track sound. And that's what shows me where the beat is. I'm going to zoom in down here at the lower right-hand corner. There's a way to zoom in. And I want to do that because what we're going to do is create a beat that's 2 bars long, nothing extraordinary. And the more you zoom in, the more you can see the details of the timeline. Bar 1, beat 1, bar 1, beat 2, bar 1, beat 3, etc. And then we get into bar 2 and bar 3 and so on. Pro Tools defaults to 120 beats a minute and 4/4 time. Right now, I'm going to slow it down a little bit and just type in, I don't know, 92 beats a minute. Hit return and press play. And there you can hear it's going by slower. All right, so we're going to get started with our beat. First thing I would like to do is add an instrument track. What we're going to do is make a very simple rudimentary beat with one MIDI track and one audio track. And don't worry too much right now if that doesn't make much sense. They both are going to end up resulting in a sound per track, but it'll make more sense as we do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the track menu once again, but this time instead of a click track, I'm going to go new, and I'm going to choose stereo. Stereo. Instrument track. We could do a MIDI track, but the instrument track is a real handy way to get sound quicker. And I'm going to do a kick track, so I'm going to call this track kick. Bass drum, some people call it. All right. Now, if I had a keyboard here, which I don't have a USB keyboard or a MIDI keyboard or anything. I just have a computer, and that's it. Okay, if I did have a keyboard, I could put this track into record enable and try and play something. And if you have one, you can do that. But you're going to find out real quick, it's not making any sound because an instrument track needs an instrument, and we haven't put that in there yet. Here's how to do it. This column here are the inserts. And what we're going to do is click on this first insert, choose multi-channel plugin, instrument, and then it gives you whatever you have on this computer that's available to Pro Tools. I've got Ableton Live on this computer, so it's seeing that, but the one that we're going to use is the one that comes with Pro Tools first, Expand. Once you do that, you'll see this nice picture of a 4-channel MIDI playback unit. And it comes with a sound that's defaulting there. So now if you do have the track record enabled and you do have a keyboard hooked up, you could play some notes and you'd hear this sound. Since I don't have a keyboard, what I'm going to do is go to the View menu and choose MIDI Editor. And that's open here, so let me move the transport out of the way. And now if I click on notes on the keyboard over here, you'll hear that kind of cool new agey pad sound. It reminds me of like the 80s. We're not going to use that for our kick, obviously, so I'm going to go in here on the plugin. Bank A is on MIDI channel 1. That's going to work just fine. And I'm going to click here instead of bright pads as the bank. I'm going to choose drums. And from the drums menu, I'm going to choose kicks menu. And now, if I go low enough on the keyboard, because this kicks menu doesn't spread out throughout the whole keyboard. It's only limited to certain notes, lower notes. So if I click here below C3, it looks like it's giving me the choice of a bunch of different sort of funky, hip-hoppy, dancey, electronic, pop sort of kick sounds. Ooh. So, all right. So I'm going to choose one. And that's what I would like you to do is just choose one of them. I like this one. So this is, I guess, probably a B flat 2. Move this thing. Actually, I can actually make this thing go away right now. What's this? A B flat 2 down here. I think so. And since I don't have a keyboard, I'm going to use the pencil tool to draw some stuff in. I need to, I guess, let me get my bearings here. All right. I think I know where I am now because I've got the 16th note grid going here. So that makes it possible to draw something as small as a 16th note. And for what I've got in mind, I'm going to need that. If I didn't, if I maybe had something that was eighth notes, then I wouldn't need the 16th note grid, but I'm thinking something that can get a little more syncopated is what I'm in the mood for now. So when I rewind, which I am rewinded, is that a word? I have this pencil tool, and I know that I'm on bar 1, beat 1, and somewhere close to the beginning. I don't have to be exactly precise. If I want to know where I am exactly at any time in the ruler, I can look up here, and it tells me where I am. And that's helpful. This B flat is what I want. So I'm going to click here on the downbeat of bar 1, beat 1. All right, so now I've got a kick hit there. And you can see up here in this edit window, it shows the MIDI event, this note, in the clip. So it's created this clip already. All right, so I've got that. Let me just kind of rewind and get my bearings again and see how does that sound with the click. All right. The next note I want is on what we call the and of 3, because in music we count it like when it's eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3, something like that. So I'm going to click one on the and of 3. And you can do the same exact thing, or you can make up your own rhythm. All right. Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to hit the downbeat of bar 2 now again. And I'm going to hit the end of 3 of bar 2. And now I'm going to get this second 16th note of beat 4 of bar 2. And let's rewind and hear that. So you see it's a 2-bar pattern. Very common kick drum pattern. I'm going to save just in case, although I believe it's kind of doing its saving in the background anyway. Command S is the keyboard equivalent. I don't have to go up to the file menu and find it. Now I'm going to do a snare, and I could do a MIDI snare like this with an instrument track, but I'm going to show you a way to do an audio snare. What's happening here is that these MIDI events that I drew in are triggering a sound on what we might call a virtual instrument. This expand, which is set to play back those kick drums right now. Because I chose that note and it's set up to trigger that particular sound on that particular note, I'm hearing that note. What's really flexible about MIDI is if I decided later I didn't like that kick drum sound, I could take these notes and transpose them, maybe move down a little bit and do the same pattern on this sound. Very cool thing about MIDI that audio really doesn't do quite as easily. But audio has its place, definitely. The world doesn't revolve totally about MIDI. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get on a browser. I've got Chrome up here. Let me open up a window. And I'm going to search. I have a website. It's called Free. It's not mine. I have an account in this website, and you can get one too. It's free. freesound.org. And they've got a lot of nice sounds on here. So what I'm going to do is search for snare, and I'm just looking for a very short, simple little snare drum thing. Just, not a double hit like this one, not a roll, not, some kind of pattern. I just want one simple hit so that I can do the assignment. That's all right. Too ringy. I want something a little shorter, I think. Hear this one. No, I'm going to go to the next page, see what they got. Not quite what I'm thinking about. That one's all right. I've heard so many drums like that, but they've got a lot of stuff here. Pretty good. That's kind of the sound. I'll go for this one. When you go to this site, you're going to have to set up an account, and you're going to have to obviously log in whenever you set up your account when you want to download stuff. So that one's pretty nice. Too ringy. I'm looking for something just short and snappy to make this easy. All right, it's kind of like a weird 808 sound. That'll do for now. So I believe if I click on the name of the file, then I can download it. And it is downloading. All right, so it didn't take long. It's opening it up. Oh, wait, I didn't want to do that. No. That was cosmic. Wow, did you guys hear that? That's cool. All right, it went where I didn't want it to go. What I needed to do is actually open it up in the Finder. So here I am in the Finder, and I need to go to the downloads because that's where it ended up. Here it is. Okay, so I'm kind of done with this now. I've got my sound. All right, so this is where I wanted to be. I'm kind of reorganizing my my windows here, and I've got the downloads here, and I can see the file. It's the snare file here, and I'm sort of positioning it so that I can click and drag on this wave file, the snare drum, and I just want to drag it up here to this gray area, and I'll show you how, pretty easy it is to get it in there. So here I go, click, drag, put it in there. Pro Tools automatically recognize that this is a stereo audio file. It's a wave file. So there it is. There's the waveform showing it. I'm going to grab now this grabber tool. And I've got the grid on quarter notes for this view. And if I drag this to bar 1, beat 2, which is where the snare probably should be, it's going to start to sound like something. Yeah. Usually snare goes on 2 and 4, and that's what we're going to do. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I just want to get the project done. If I click on, actually, rather, let me say this a different way. If I hold down the Option key, because I don't have a full mouse here, I've got a trackpad on my MacBook Pro. So I'm going to hold down the Option key, but you can do a right click and it does the same thing. And if I click on this and drag it to beat 4, it leaves the other one and drags like the clone version, which is the same exact waveform. Yeah, and I could do it a couple more times and have the full 2 bars. You can see that the MIDI clip is a full exactly 2 bars, and now I've got 2 and 4 here. I could do it again. Hold down the Option key, click and drag, and do it again, and now I have a complete 2 bars. Rewind and play. Great. Well, now that I've got some sounds in there, I'm almost done. I'm going to mute the click track because I really don't like to hear the click track once it's done its job. So let me just kind of hear the music without the click. All right. Now that I'm hearing it, I think I would like to hear it at a faster tempo because it's reminding me of kind of like maybe a Miami booty bass music, and that's usually a lot of that stuff is really up tempo. So I'm going to type in 132 and hear what it sounds like at that tempo. Oops. All right. Now, what I usually like to do is obviously I can't make any music with just doing 2 bars. So I'm going to, instead of actually looping, which is possible, you can loop in Pro Tools, but I prefer to repeat it and do it in a linear way. So what I did was I went up here and clicked on this tool. This is called the selector tool. And that's just to select something. And when the grid on like this, I've got the grid set to quarter notes. It's very easy to select a precise region. And I selected 2 bars of the kick and the snare with everything there. So it's got the whole region. It knows where to put everything because I didn't just select a note, which is one like maybe an event or a waveform. I selected the whole region, the notes and the spaces between the rests as well. So it knows exactly what to do. Because I'm a little bit paranoid, before I do anything, I always go up here and check and make sure that the region that I selected is what I wanted to select. And in this case, it is. It starts on bar 1, beat 1, tick 0, and ends on bar 3, beat 1, tick 0. The length is exactly 2 bars long. So now I can do a repeat, and that's in the edit menu. And it asks me how many repeats. How about 5? Let me rewind and see what that sounds like. Oops. For some reason, we're getting that CPU overload thing happening. All right. Well, it's okay because I can tell that it's there. I'm not going to keep trying again. It's the same thing repeated over and over again. You can see that it's the same exact clip of that kick drum pattern. I'm going to go ahead and save because, I'm paranoid. We're pretty much done. There's one last thing that I would like to do. And once again, well, I've got this select tool here. I'm going to select a little more than 2 bars. It's, I guess, whatever, 12 bars long and 1 beat. And now I'm going to go to the File menu and choose Export, because this is how we do a very quick and dirty mix. File, Export, and then Audio Mix. I'm going to take the outputs that are being used right now, and yours is probably output 1 and 2 if you're just using the internal outputs. It shouldn't change. It's I've just got a slightly more complicated situation here so I can hook up my mic and all that stuff. We definitely want WAV file. If you want to do an MP3, you can. Right now that's not available, so maybe I lied, maybe it's not. I think there is some way to do it with Pro Tools first, but I'm not sure. We're going to leave this other stuff as it comes. Import exported file means that when you're done with the mix or the bounce, that it will bring it into your tracks. It'll add it to the tracks, so might as well. Now, this is actually going to go somewhere here locally, so that's nice that at least I'll have my WAV file mix on my computer. And it's telling me it's going users, my name, /document, /Pro Tools, /bounce files. Good. So that's fine. Or I could just, if I wanted to make it easy on myself, I could just say, nah, I don't want to have to go there. I can just put it on the desktop. That's fine. Either way is fine. As long as you know where it is, you can always find it later. Click Export, and it does it in real time. Important to mute the click because I really don't like to hear your music with the click. click. So if you're going to be submitting an assignment to my class, definitely click is like killing my joy. All right, it's done. Now it's importing it, and there it is. It imported that stereo file with the kick and the snare, just mixed. I didn't really do a mix. I'm going to mute the snare. I'm going to mute the kick, and I'm going to rewind. It already is rewinded, and play, and just hear. No surprise, it just mixed it. All right. So that's there. If you're submitting this for class, because it's kind of a hassle when we're doing a remote class to, hook up and actually for me to really see your session. So at this point, just maybe if you want to use QuickTime to create a very quick video, or you could just grab your mobile device and shoot like 5 seconds of things working so that I can see your screen and kind of confirm that you did things this way. And then we're going to be all happy. And you're also going to upload to the Blackboard course site not only that video that you make, but your mix, so I can hear it in lovely high fidelity. That is the end of this lesson on how to create a simple beat using Pro Tools First. I'm Steve Roitstein. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon. Bye.